Thank you so much for being here. We have a very ambitious program, but I guess the best idea is to ask Pablo to take the lead in this opening session and to invite the Vice Dean to take the floor.
Okay, good morning, everybody. As head of the Quality and Diversity Unit, I'd like to welcome you to the University of Castilla-La Mancha on behalf of the rector. We appreciate the effort to make this trip, which in some cases has been very, very long. In this moment, Verónica Jimeno, Vice Dean of Criminology of this faculty of Law, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning. First of all, we welcome to the Albacete Law Faculty, which is hosting this meeting of the European Association for Education Law and Policy, ELA. Education and law is the motto of this European association. I would like to thank Professor Pablo Meix, Professora Juani Morcillo, Professora Susana de la Sierra, members of the organizing committee, and the president of ELA, Jan de Groof, for the organization of this meeting at the Albacete Law Faculty. Inclusive education in the age of artificial intelligence is the theme chosen for this meeting, where relevant issues related to education policies, the right to education, disability and gender, technology in education, and neurotechnologies will be analyzed. Important issues to ensure inclusive education. We hope you enjoy them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Verónica. As I said, we are very happy to be with you in our faculty. There are people coming from countries of 3 continents, Belgium, Brazil, Italy, Lithuania, Finland, South Africa, Switzerland, and Hungary. Of course, also from Spain, not only from Albacete, but also from Granada, Andalusia, and Valencia, where a month ago there was a flood that devastated many villages and families. Thanks to the European Association for Education, Law and Policy, especially to its president, Jan de Groof, for choosing Albacete to hold this meeting on a topic of great importance, inclusive education in the age of artificial intelligence. Founded in 1985, the University of Castilla-La Mancha is spread out over campuses within 4 provinces of the region of Castilla-La Mancha. You can see our region, 4 points, 4 campuses, and in addition, there are 2 other university centers located in Talavera de la Reina, where the rector is today, and Almadén, Ciudad Real. We can see where Albacete is. There are currently over 29,000 students in our university with a staff of close to 2,800 professors and researchers. Moreover, there are nearly 1,100 administrators and service personnel. I would like to focus on 3 important points of the university. Internationalization is an essential factor in improving the quality and efficiency of a Spanish university and is one of the key strategies of the University of Castilla-La Mancha. Second, in terms of equality, UCLM, University of Castilla-La Mancha, is committed to eradicating any type of discrimination based on gender, whether it concerns professional development or simply the well-being of all members of the university. With respect to diversity, the Disability Support Service pays attention to the members of the university community with some type of disability, whether physical, sensory, or with chronic illness that affects their studies. We also deal with diversity from another point of view. I'm referring to the LGBTI collective, which also needs support measures. In this sense, since 2019, the University of Castilla-La Mancha has a protocol for trans and intergender people to change their name. Through this protocol, each person will be able to be called as he or she wants in the internal documents of the university. For example, email, class list, university card, etc. Finally, I would like to all institutions that have made possible this conference. And in order to show you a part of our culture, we have organized different activities at the end of each day. This evening, we will enjoy a musical flamenco show, and tomorrow we will give you a tour of the city. We will. We hope you will like it. And as a small gift, we have prepared a typical product of our region, saffron, called in our country red gold of La Mancha. It's a delicious spice that you will find in your bags with a small explanation. I'd like to end by playing a short video that provides an overview of our university. We hope.
Your world starts here. Your contribution to the future begins here. Here, you begin to write history. Right where other great visionaries left off. Right here in the land of Don Quixote, La Mancha. A great university is waiting for you. With places to think differently. To beat your own records. And overcome the limits of the world. Mixing advanced technology with centuries of inspiration. And developing the most of your potential to build together the solutions of tomorrow. Right here, in the birthplace of the Spanish language, where the way we see the world changed. Today, we want to hear your voice. Tell us what is your vision of the future. Tell us how you want to change society. And let us show you how far you can go. Join our global community to address the major challenges of humanity. To work together on large projects. It is here, at the University of Castilla-La Mancha, where the rest of your future begins. Join us. Come to the university of your dreams.
As the video is the title, Study in Spain, a friendly, supportive and inspiring place at the University of Castilla-La Mancha. We hope you will like this conference.
So, my turn. Thank you very much for coming here, for coming from so far away, many of you. It's really a pleasure, and we are very happy that you have, well, entrusted us with this responsibility, and that you have responded to our call, that you came to speak at this conference, that we hope it will be fruitful and interesting for all of us, and also for our research programs at the university that I will touch on briefly. I also want to thank Jan de Groof very specially for his impulse, for driving the association for over 30 years now, and still he always encourages us to take on more responsibilities and to do more. So that's really something to appreciate. I also would like to thank Vice Dean Verónica Jimeno for her acceptance to come and be with us on behalf of the Dean, on behalf of the whole faculty. We have some colleagues, some professors that will be attending. Some of them are already here with us. And well, of course, we hope that this can provide some stimulus for reflection and for future research within our own faculty. Very especially, I have to thank my colleague and my boss and my partner, Professor Juani Morcillo, because if this conference is taking place is very much thanks to her organizational skills, which are exceptional, and her leadership within the university. You can't imagine the number of responsibilities that she undertakes, and the number of sponsors that she has been able to secure. That's all her job, all the sponsors, all the money that we're going to be spending in this conference is thanks to her work and her good connections to many of the chairs and many of the institutions that fund the university. So thank you. The topic of the conference is very important to us because it is also part of research programs that we undertook 3 years ago in a research group led by Juani Morcillo and by Professor Susana de la Sierra, who unfortunately cannot be here today because she also had a commitment in a different university. And these two colleagues have been leading a group of over 20 researchers that we're trying to understand how we should bridge the needs of the social state, of the welfare state for the economists, of the social state in the digital age, in the age of digital technologies. So we are already working on a book in Spanish language on the social digital state. That would be the title. We hope to have it published in about 1 year time, hopefully a bit earlier. So this is an effort that has been going on in our university for a few years. And of course, having the opportunity of a conference, of an ELA meeting here to discuss these topics that we have also been addressing over the last couple of years was a reason to profit from that experience and from that knowledge that we have been gathering in ELA for many years, and try to bring it together with the research programs in our university. So that's a little bit the justification for the topic. I know perhaps it's not exactly the orientation that we have had in the ELA when we discussed this. It was perhaps broader, but we are very much interested in social rights, and of course there is room for everybody to bring their own ideas and to widen the scope of the conference. Feel entirely free to do so, because this is of course what makes us learn, what makes us richer, what actually the reason that brings us together every time. So thank you. I don't want to take any more time because we're already behind schedule, even if it sounds impossible, but it's like an old tradition of ours. So welcome, and well, I really hope that it will be a fruitful conference in many ways.
Well, first let me thank the Vice Dean of this faculty, marvelous faculty. Thank you so much spending some time with us. Please share also our highest appreciation and our highest esteem to the Vice Rector and the Rector. We know that he is on the road. It's quite delicate time now for him. I was 35 years the Government Commissioner for Universities in Belgium. I know how delicate election time election procedures are for rectors and candidate rectors. So they have to move, they have to share their vision for the future for the university. But please share our highest appreciation to the rector. But in all evidence, we have to thank definitely Pablo and his team for this wonderful job you made in the hospitality of this university, of your group and of all your team, for the wonderful program you composed with other persons. It was that nice to participate in our preparative meetings on this program, which is not overpacked. It is focusing on indeed main issues. It's not a full menu of educational law for the future, because that will ask months of debates and of research. But we opted for those issues where we could make profit of the prolongation of previous ELA conferences. Conferences in Budapest, remember, Baraj? In Bologna, of course. Professor Angelo Paletta and Pietro were responsible for that very wonderful ELA conference in Bologna. Lisbon, the Faculty of Law of Lisbon, with the Dean of the Faculty, Antonio Pedro Barabas Omem, who could not be with us today because he's on another continent. And I know Albacete, this wonderful place. Dealing with issues, among them, of course, technology. And we had also, and making profit of international conferences where ELA members and ELA as such, but also the National Institute ICOR from the Flemish community, organized the GSTIC, the General Conference on Science, Technology and Innovation. And again there, Pablo was there, Aujrin, where is Aujrin? Aujrin took also the floor with keynote, Angelo Pelletta, Pietro, and few other ELA members from other continents. And we will share the New Delhi Declaration of the GSTIC on relevancy of technology in education. We have also to refer to the report of the Special Rapporteur of the UN, Right to Education, and the prominent contribution Dr. Maria Smirnova prepared for that, quite interesting, and yeah. And thanks so much also, Maria, to be here. I know that you are trying to make the link between the UN and ELA, and that's quite ambitious also for the future. One of this overall findings of the GSTIC on science, technology, innovation, and role of education was we must shape technologies according to human needs and human values, rather than allowing technology shaping humans. A little bit provocative as a statement, as an opening statement, but that was, after all, one of the leading findings, and we have to make that very concrete. Of course, technology entered education. 3 stages. In the first decade of this century, but there was a huge contrast between the so-called predicted technological revolution in education and the poor results. Read PISA, read effectivity research on education, very poor results, including technology in education. Then, of course, the COVID epoch, who accelerated the implementation of technology in education. It was a part of the solution. But definitely, technology was not able to facilitate the gaps on equality and quality in that very hectic time of COVID. So for many reasons, there is massive argument on the weakness of quality of and didactics and materials, but also the weak knowledge of teachers and students and so on. So there is massive argument analyzing, again, that failure to some extent of technology. And then, of course, 2022, AI and ChatGPT, again, a new disruptive stage on including implementing technology in education, with totally new agenda. well, of course, we have our difficulties on how assessing and how evaluating the use of ChatGPT and other AI. But that's not the issue. The issue is the impact of AI on the learning process. It is not the how question anymore. It is the what and the why question of education. And to a large extent also the missing dimensions in education using AI, namely creativity, leadership, the ethical dimension, entrepreneurial dimension. So it is the new agenda should invite not just educationalists, but also law persons, those who are familiar with education law, to start a debate. And that was one of the findings of the GSTIC, but also other national reports on AI in education. We need solid, appropriate legislation dealing with AI in education, not just on protecting rights of the students, of privacy and data protection, but much larger on what should be done by technology in education, the next stage. May I shortly refer to another issue? And this issue is a little bit more delicate and also to some extent personal. I had a chance to, from August to recent days, to visit several spots in several countries outside, in several continents outside Europe, screening education law, talking with education and political leadership on education policy, volunteering in institutes for inclusive education. And those experiences of those, well, three continents outside Europe did confirm already the analysis that the state of art of education law across the countries is truly problematic. Of course, we are partly informed through international reports, UN, but there is a strong lack of research-based screening data on national education legislation worldwide, on the lack of implementation of international law. International law should be redrafted, updated, articulated, refined, definitely and urgently. On the weakness of judiciary, the role of the judge. I'm a critical friend of SDGs, like all education lawyers, for many reasons. Among others, the contrast between SDG and international law, as we talked already, as we debated already on our earlier ELA meetings. But let me just refer to three issues who will be at the agenda exactly those days. SDG 4, Target 1, compulsory free education. Well, most countries in Africa, partly in Asia and in Latin America, legislation is not in line with the overall international norm on free and compulsory education during a specific number of years. Some countries even do not have a constitutional norm, constitutional right on compulsory and free. So this is a dramatic finding. Target SDG 4.2 on early childhood development and pre-primary education. Now, there is a strong argument from the international community, NGOs, vis-à-vis the Committee for Rights of the Child on protocol. I don't know if that is the best option from legal perspective, protocol to the Convention on Rights of the Child, but that's detail, perhaps. But most countries do not have any prescription on early childhood education and on pre-primary education. At a minimum 1 year free. And those countries who included it, like for instance South Africa, the Bela Bill, the Basic Education Law Amendment Bill, just the President signed a couple of months ago, what was welcomed by the international community. Look, best model, South Africa is including as a norm, legal norm, pre-primary education. But the inconsistency of the South African policy, cutting the number of teachers massively, where all international reports, look at the Transforming Education Summit, look at all those international summits in Paris, in Brussels, in New York, last in Brazil, on education, the future of education. Number one is the need for teachers, qualified teachers. Well, I'm a reader, and all of us do read quite frequently the Global Education Monitoring Report. Reread those papers. Rose indicated those parameters. It's an enormous, and it's about millions, about dozens of millions, shortage of teachers. South African government, the Bela Bill, right, but on the same time in another bill, massive cuts of teachers. In the Netherlands, last week again, shortage of teachers, but there will be again cuts and not hiring but firing teachers. So again, there the inconsistency of, and then look at our target SDG 4.5, gender disparities, equal access of vulnerable persons in education. Again there, worldwide, the data are just there, worldwide. 65% gender parity in primary education. 45 equality, gender parity in lower secondary. 25 equality, gender parity in higher secondary. 25. We have a massive problem. And again, most countries, except two, ratified the Convention of the Rights of the Child. How many countries are really respecting the four founding principles of the Convention? Right to life, to development, and respect for the view of the children. Secondly, non-discrimination. Third, the best interest of the child. And four, education, Article 28 and 29. So we should be aware of, perhaps I'm a little bit too pessimistic now, but I'm not just concerned, I'm extremely skeptical, the lack of interest for the legal foundation and national legislation worldwide. The lack of interest from the international community for research-based, comparative analysis on national legislation. It's a massive problem. And we should not become emotional, but after 30 years, 35 years, what is the role of ELA? And our discourse on, yes, we need the absolute need for solid, appropriate, transparent education legislation, according to the new style of legislation. And again, there we can refer to Budapest and Lisbon and Bologna. We had there strong models of appropriate, how to regulate education. Was the art, but also technique. So let us, perhaps we should launch a wake-up call into the international community and governments. No pact for the future, UN Pact of the Future, UNESCO Pact for the Future on education. No pact for the future without a clear vision and commitment on appropriate education legislation for the future. That could be one of the findings of this overall ELA meeting. So we have to focus those days on main issues. And again, the topics we will deal with are crucial for policy and for the legislation. But let us be critical also via the international and the national authorities on their duty to regulate education properly. For that was a little bit perhaps too pessimistic and a little bit shocking. An opening speech should be more enthusiastic and more, but let me make it clear. We have to be concerned, and we have to express it more loudly, and with researchers in this room and outside the room, because it is a small size conference, and I welcome that much Pablo's effort to open the floor also for the third generation of ELA members. Welcoming Johan Beckman was the ELA lover from the first years. We founded together the South African Education Law and Policy Association, remember? The 1996, 1997. Thank you so much for coming also, the colleagues from South Africa. You made a trip, but we need you. And you will inspire us again, and perhaps if we can also have a common agenda for the future, that could make the difference also internationally. But also you opened also the floor for the third generation of ELA believers and ELA lovers and ELA members on the need for research and for debate and critical thinking and reflection on the role of law and of education rights and of the right to education. That will make the difference definitely, internationally and nationally. Voilà. Sorry, I misused my time again, I guess. Can we open now the floor for the first speakers on issues where definitely we have to debate on at large? Yeah.